Marketing tells you you will never be fine until you have those things.
Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Faiven.
And welcome to Let's Talk About It.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, we want to hear from you, so comment below during the video.
Today we're talking about the new American dream. Are we rushing for marriage and kids like our parents or our grandparents even?
I feel like it's definitely not the same as it was back in the day, so let's talk about it. But first, rapid fire.
In today's economy, is owning a home still a milestone or just a financial trap?
I believe it's a financial trap. So many people are buying way too much house.
Okay.
True or false? I thought I'd own a house by now.
Yes. 15, 20-year-old me definitely was like, oh yeah, mid-30s, house, da-da-da-da.
She never says true or false. She says a different word. Like she says yes
True!
or no.
True! Do you think marriage and kids should be the ultimate goal?
No. Well, let me take that back. I think there are multiple ultimate goals. For one demographic of person, sure, that's their ultimate goal. I am at peace as long as my children have blank.
Their health. If you could rewrite the American dream for 2025, what's the first thing you'd remove?
I would remove the importance of a college education. It's not necessary in 2025.
Not with AI.
Do you make vision boards? If so, what has been their effect on your life?
Yes, I make vision boards. I haven't in a while. But what I realized is a lot of the things came true outside of the window that I thought it was going to happen. What's one milestone your parents valued that you don't see as realistic anymore?
Property ownership. It's not necessary. Who or what are you guilty of comparing yourself to?
I'll think I'm doing good, and then I'll see a mom that took apart the child's water bottle the night before, and I'm like, oh, I just threw that whole thing in the dishwasher. You mean I gotta take apart? And I'm like, okay. You know, little things like that remind me always that somebody is one-upping me. Does checking the traditional boxes, house, kids, career, equal happiness or just pressure?
I'm gonna go with pressure because I know lots of people who checked all those boxes and they are still miserable. If money were not a factor, what enhancement would you make to your life or daily routine?
We would definitely have our toddler in daycare at least 2 days a week, just so that we could work, breathe, get a little bit done around the house. And if we're talking luxuries, you know, maybe a little hoisting of the girls, perhaps.
She always worry about her titties.
We talked about homeownership a lot and it no longer being a goal, a financial trap even. Can you explain more what you meant?
Yeah, so I don't just go off of emotions, I go off of facts and numbers because I'm a type A nerd. And there are literally calculators online that will tell you if it makes financial sense to rent or own in 2025. You can type in your salary, your budget, interest rates, locations, and it'll pop up the amount you'll pay in a lifetime, roughly, in rent or in home ownership. And rent always comes out as optimal. And I'm like, well, yeah, so I'm gonna do what's optimal. But if you talk to a boomer, they're like, you gotta buy a house, you gotta buy a house. That's what's most important. That's your best investment. I'm like, no, it's not. A good investment is something that enhances your life, that you can access, because if you're living in a money pit, you can't really spend it. You know, some people are like, oh, I am worth $1 million because that's how much equity is in my home. But you can't access that money unless you sell the house and get the cash.
Right.
Then where are you gonna live?
Right.
So it's like, I'd rather have all my money liquid in investments that are growing, and then I can take out like monthly dividends and actually spend it to enhance my life or get other assets that are usable. But like, just to live in something giant and expensive that requires lawn care. What if HVAC goes out? Like, you have to do everything yourself. But if you see the state of these luxury apartment buildings, yes, the prices might sound ridiculous in the thousands, but it's like state-of-the-art everything, stainless steel everything, concierge service, swimming pools, gyms, package delivery. If something is broken, you just call downstairs and they'll send a maintenance guy the next day. If you have a home, you have to do all of that yourself. So it's not only all this money, but it's also time and then skill and energy that goes into it. And if it was back in the day, like in the early 1900s, then yeah, sure, if the house is cheap, then you can hire people to do everything, but it's just not the same anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think, number one, where you live also greatly influences if you're able to buy a home or not. You live in a major city, you live in New York, I live in DC. Owning a home in New York is what, a couple million or something crazy?
And it'll be like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. And it's like, yeah, so this is 1.7 million.
Yeah, so when we lived in our old apartment, the corner house next to us was $1 million home, and there was no garage. Like, number one, if I'm paying $1 million for a house, I want a garage. It was a very small, slanted, makeshift space for the car, and your car dare not be an SUV, otherwise you're parking on the street with the rest of us. I can't imagine investing that much in a home, and I don't even have a garage or somewhere to safely park my car. I definitely, if you would have asked me a few years ago if I thought I was going to have a home by now, the answer would have been yes. And I think mostly because that's what we're fed, that's what we see our parents have, that's what's always pitched as the goal. But what I am learning and enjoying about like our journey right now with renting is that with every new space we're in, we're just kind of like taking note, like of little things. So we have a bathroom in our bedroom now, whereas before we had a very small apartment and we moved in as a family of 3, we moved out as a family of 5, and we had 1 bathroom. But the way that the door is positioned in this bathroom, you either can open the door or you can pull out the cabinets. But the door cannot be open and you cannot access your cabinets at the same time. So me and Joe were like, one of those like little sliding farmhouse doors would have been really great. Also, this vent is positioned really stupid. There's no circulation in here because the bath mat is always, like, it's just little things like that that we're like clocking, and we're like, when we make our own house, we're gonna, like, we know what we like and what we don't like. Or even just like the tile that they used in the shower. I'm like, the mold, the stuff, everything is accumulating. It's too hard to get the stuff out of the... So we're taking notes as opposed to being locked into something that we designed or built or bought as first-time home buyers, and now we're having all these regrets because we're having to do all these makeovers that we can't afford because we could barely afford the house that we had built from the jump, you know?
Wow, I've never heard of that pro before, where it's like a try before you buy. It's like, you know, experiencing different things, because you're right, there's some things you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, we have 4 bathrooms right now. We don't need 4 bathrooms. I'm happy to have them. We only had 1, but I'm like, we really don't need 4 bathrooms.
So here's the thing. You just mentioned you have an ensuite bathroom, which is very convenient in the morning or in the middle of the night. But that half bath, that be the poop bathroom. You gotta go in there to poop.
Okay, but just like the layout, like, so there's the kitchen, and then off to the side there's the guest bathroom. Don't poop there, because you open it up and now you're in the kitchen. So you may as well have pooped in my kitchen. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have to send you, like, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
the layout is not preferred.
Okay, what I'm getting at is, which bathroom in your new place should I be pooping in?
Downstairs. Lily's in school all day. She'll be fine.
So if I disappear,
Blow up the baby's bathroom.
I will be downstairs. But no, in all seriousness, my mother, she and my father own their home. It's my childhood home. They're still there. They make tweaks to it every so often. I remember when I was 11, they got vinyl siding, so it looked really nice because the house was kind of raggedy on the outside, but like wooden panels. So it's like they bought a fixer-upper, and every year their big thing would be doing something to the house to like make it look nice, and it looks great. But they had that mindset of always owning. Renting is stupid. That's throwing money away. Like 30 years later, you don't own anything. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But again, interest rates, just prices of the homes, they make no sense. So I've been living in New York City for 13 years and I've rented the entire time. Sure, if what I paid in rent went towards a mortgage, I would own something by now. But everyone always misses the whole, hey, you need a down payment. So when in my 20s was I gonna come up with $80,000 cash for a down payment? I know they have first-time homebuyer programs, but still, you'll like have to, if you don't have enough for the down payment, then you have to pay that PMI, that extra insurance, so there's just more money. Everything is money.
And God forbid you're creative and the jumps in payment and jobs is all over the place. It is...
Yeah. I literally have dry spells. There will be an entire month where I don't make any money. Luckily, I have my cushion, my emergency fund, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I have to withdraw from here, transfer it to checking so I can cover this month, but I plan for that, and it's perfectly fine because I rent, and my rent is reasonably low. And like I said, I don't have any like maintenance or anything I have to pay for out of pocket. So my lifestyle is great and it's as liquid as possible. Like my money is not in assets like a house or a car or things that I can't like spend, So I tried to explain this to my mom. She finally got it because every so often she would send me listings on Zillow and she's like, you should invest in this, you should buy this, like this condo is not that expensive, there's this place in Connecticut, it's kind of in a town that no one goes to, but I'm sure you can rent it out and make money from that because that's all they know and they're in that generation. She even went as far as saying, your father and I could help you. So I was like, wait, so you're willing to like put down X amount of thousand to match me in a down payment to buy a property in a state that I'm not in. I don't have a car. I just don't feel comfortable giving you all the money I have saved throughout my entire adulthood so far for a property. And then you're like, ta-da, that's all my money is there. That's so dumb to me. And then I'm house poor. Have you heard of that term before? Yeah, so a lot of people are house poor. They buy too much house and then they're essentially paycheck to paycheck and broke because their mortgage payment is so high. And if I did get a rental property, what if I don't have any tenants in there? Or what if I have a bad tenant that destroys the property and it's under my name? All that to me is chaos and is literally not a goal of mine, especially because I'm single with no kids. If I was married and had a baby on the way, yes, my goal would be to have more space and a house, but even still, owning versus renting, two different things. One of my best friends out in Pasadena, they rent their beautiful house. And what's the difference? Like literally, what is the difference? You have the backyard, you have the garage, you have all the space, you have a guest bedroom, you have all the things. You can pay the monthly rent and you still have a home, like a giant detached home, and you don't have to deal with all the little things.
Yeah. I mean, we're renting a house now, which I used to think was silly because I'm like, why? I mean, just for all the same points that we've already mentioned, it's like, why am I spending this much to rent a house? I would rather buy a house. But the market in DC, even for renting, is so competitive. And mind you, my husband has the stable job. I have the flimsy artist job on paper. So it was very hard. We would submit applications, and before we could even get out the door to go view the property that they said we could come view, they'd be like, oh, never mind. We just accepted an offer. And that was happening like over and over and over again. So it really knocked the wind out of my sails because I was like, we got to get out of here. So yeah, no, I'm very happy with our house. I'm okay with the fact that we're renting. We also... we have kids that are of school age, so it's like if I buy a house right now, I have to also buy a house in a good school district, which means money. The house that we're renting, we're wanting to commit at least 4 years because, Lily's high school, but then after that, we're trying to switch somewhere else and be in a completely different county, maybe even state. Virginia's looking real good right now. But again, just also believe in God for like a lot of things when it comes to that. But we don't want to be locked into a house right now if our goal down the line is to raise the kids in a different city or a different state. So we have the flexibility because there's no mortgage, there's no whatever. We're just bonded by a lease and that's only yearly. So
yeah, and the last thing I'll say about the house too is even if you do have a lot of money, like there's this one influencer who he's also an author. His name is Remi. He wrote a book called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And he defines rich in a different way, like what matters to you versus, it's not just about money, right? But he lives in New York City. I've actually seen him walking around Soho before. And he and his wife rent in a nice building. And he talks about it a lot on his platforms where he's just like, yeah, I ran the numbers and renting makes more sense. And he's literally a millionaire. And my brother, not that I'm pocket watching, he is an ER doctor. So he makes considerably more money than I make. And he's in Texas renting. And so he's paying the same as essentially me and my friends who don't make as much as an ER doctor makes. So maybe he'll buy a house later, maybe when he starts having kids with his new wife and everything. But like, it's just saves so much money. And I'm just like, no one can convince me otherwise. Even the millionaires are like, yeah, no, it's a waste of money. Why would I want to mow that lawn?
Yeah.
So
I do romanticize it a little bit, just growing up military and growing up in bases that have since shut down, so there's nowhere to visit to be like, oh, this is where I grew up. Oh, that's the playground I used to play in. So I love the idea of having a space to come back to. Even my grandmother on my mom's side, she had rented her apartment, so it's just not in the family anymore. It's gone. It has a new tenant. I couldn't even stomach seeing the apartment empty after she passed, but I'm like, oh, I wish we still had grandma's, I always called it grandma's house, grandma's home, but it was an apartment. But I wish we had something to go back to, and growing up military, that's something that we missed out on. I do want to be a homeowner eventually when it makes sense, but also because of all the work that is involved, realizing like, okay, if I want to do this to have something to leave my kids, then I also need to know how to manage and maintain this so that I'm not leaving them something that is supposed to be a blessing, but now it's more of a burden, you know? There's a lady that lives next to us, and then I want to ask you about something else, but there's a lady that lives next to us, and the neighbors called and did a wellness check because she's not maintaining the property, and we just moved in, so we don't know her well enough, but Joe tries to ask her if she needs help, and she's always like, I got it, but the place looks bad. And I didn't even know anybody lived there when we moved in, but it's getting to the point that the neighbors are concerned. Adult protective services have came by to knock on the door, but apparently, like, if you don't let them in, that's still your right. So the story is still developing, but we don't know what to do outside of asking her, hey, can we help you? Can we help you load your groceries? And she's just always saying no. But just seeing how run down that place is, I'm like, ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's tough. Especially me, like, I'm a single person, right? I'm not projecting that I'll be single forever, even if I marry a divorcee 10 years from now and then we frolic and then we pass together, that's fine. But I'm just like, if I remain single and I'm doing all the adulting by myself, I would not want to maintain a property either. So it's like that also is another note to like, I'd rather have a full service luxury apartment building, especially my older age, than like annoy my whole neighborhood because ain't nobody mowing the lawn and trimming the hedges and stuff like that.
Because the way I catastrophize, I was like, Joe, oh my gosh, what if when we're older, the kids move away and then you die first because whatever, and now I'm here alone in this house that I can't maintain because you did X, Y, and Z because of gender roles, and now I'm living in and I just go off on a deep end, and I'm like, we've got to watch HGTV.
Okay.
I just want to know how to maintain things.
Well, you're maintaining your children, they alive.
Yeah, so far so good.
So what do you think about kids being a part of the American dream? I know there's a new, well, not new, but now it's more popularized, the child-free by choice movement. And a lot of it is because people can't afford kids. A lot of it is because online dating has warped how relationships are even formed. So if, you know, cart before the horse, most people prefer to partner up and not do the child rearing alone. So if no one is dating, no one's getting married, and then no one's doing the child rearing in partnership. So how do we feel about kids being a part of the current American dream?
I think that anytime you let the people around you, the culture around you, the whatever around you tell you what you want, you are setting yourself up for failure, because like you can't give the kids back. So if you get pressured into having kids because you think that you're supposed to check this box or you're supposed to have this job by such and such age, and then you get the thing and you realize you hate the thing, like what are you going to do now? Sure, you can leave a job, but like you can't give your kids back. So like kids is something you have to be 100% on, and not just do it because so-and-so did it. Or they look happy, I want to try that on too. I want to see if that works for me. Like you got to be sure about parenthood, because when unhappy parents are raising children, you're affecting lives.
Yeah, it's really sad. Me, I don't have kids, and I'm 36 years old, so I'm getting up there, even though I feel like I look good, right? Yeah.
But you know, also, no, like you're not. Like I hate the term geriatric pregnancy. I think they've rephrased it something else.
Did they?
I feel like, I'll double back on that, but I feel like if you have a kid right now, you are still a young woman. Like I don't know the science, maybe the eggs are different or whatever, but like So many people have had kids in their 40s or late 30s, and they are fine, and the babies are fine.
I know.
and
And
they're
in my
healthy.
family, it's the same. My sister's
Yeah.
older than me, and she's pregnant right now. And naturally, and no issues. And same. Also, you have to be like a healthy, active person too to like have your chances be the best. Like, you can't just be like raggedy and run down, and your insides are rotten, and you're like, why can't I have a baby at 40? Girl.
Not your insides are rotten.
It is though. Sometimes that ecosystem that you created, you drink it every night, like you only eating fast food, and then they're like wondering why your hormones are all out of whack. So if I were to have a baby, I feel like it would be healthy and fine because I always like check, like I don't have fibroids like my cousins had and my sister had and whatever. But that said, I'm a traditionalist, so I would never have a child outside of wedlock. And if I'm not in a relationship, then marriage is nowhere on the horizon, therefore children is nowhere on the horizon. So it just is what it is. And I'm no longer one of those girls who lament and are upset by what I don't have. I practice so much gratitude, and I'm so blessed by what I do have. I have friends, I have family, I have work that I enjoy, I have my health, I have my passions in fitness and my newfound passion in finances, and like I'm just learning new things all the time. I'm off of social media, I'm reading so many books, I'm meeting people organically, so if it leads to a relationship, cool. If not, also cool. Like my cup is full, put it that way. And a part of me, because my sister is on baby number 3, I love that I can help with my niece and nephew and then the new baby that's coming. Like, it's not often that you have extra hands around in an American family. I know other cultures do it pretty well. They have intergenerational living, like grandma's upstairs, aunties in the next room, and like everyone helps together, and then they have large families. But American culture is not like that.
Yeah.
Everyone is completely siloed and alone, and like a lot of people are struggling because daycare is so expensive, and then who's teaching your kids? They come home with hand, foot, and mouth disease. It's like, it's all gross and chaotic and hard for a lot of people. So the fact that I'm agile and just able-bodied adult who has flexibility in her lifestyle to actually help my friends and family whenever, I think that's a blessing. And they always say it takes a village, right?
Yeah.
To raise a child. I'm very proud to be a villager. Literally, my sister's new baby will be a C-section delivery. It's scheduled soon. And she told me the date. I'm like, great. I went in my calendar, blocked a week because they have to recover for about 6 weeks. So I'm gonna take a shift. I will be going to her city and I will be helping out as auntie does, cooking, cleaning, handing her her baby so she can nurse, you know, because you want the wounds to heal. And just doing everything that I can. Like, one child's in school, the other one's still a toddler. There's just like a lot. And if I had my own family, you know good and well, I can't just up and go to a different city because I have to take care of my own kids. So I just think it's a blessing. People need to reframe how they are and where they are in their lives. Like, if you're single, if you have money saved, if you have a job you like, if you have friends, if you have family, that's all a blessing. And you get to move about. I get to come to DC and film with you and then like frolic, and like I would not be able to do that if I had these other obligations. And so my life is full. It just looks different than what I was told the American dream is supposed to be.
Oh, definitely. When my mom was still alive, she would always say, oh, my perfect dream come true would be all my daughters living on the same street. And I was like, ugh. But now, the older that I'm getting, I'm like, oh. At least once a day, I'm like, I just wish me and my sisters and our kids all lived on the same plot of land. And if I needed a cup of milk, I could just go to my sister, that the cousins could be raised together, just forming and building those strong relationships, because it's really hard. I had always envisioned myself as the cool auntie. You know, I was going to spend all this time with my nieces. At the time, my oldest sister, she was the first one of us to have kids. She had 3 kids. Then I started having kids, and then my younger sister started having kids. But I just had this this vision of how I was just going to love on them and spoil on them. And I love them deeply, I do. But when life happens, and then you start having your own family, and now maybe you're physically moving, it's just, so hard to pour into everybody the way that you want to pour into everybody when you also have your own kids and your own husband, and then you got to pour into yourself too. And so sometimes I compare myself to the version of auntie, of mother I wanted to be or thought I was going to be, and then I feel like I'm not doing enough. I really, I guess, in the villager mentality or like comment that you made, just wish we could be on a plot of land, just helping each other, pouring into each other. But it's hard.
Yeah, it is. And I know even I still have both my parents and I have my mother's mom is still alive. I'm like, wow. I mean, she did have her kids young though, so she's not, anyway, she's still alive. But I'm just like, you know what? I don't see it as a burden if I were the one who would need to care for my parents as they age, because I'm technically the closest to them. I'm one state over. My other siblings are a little farther away, and my brother just got married. He doesn't have kids yet, but he also is a doctor and has those doctor hours, like 12 hours and like crazy hours. And then, yeah, my sister had 3 kids and a husband. So if it were onto me, single auntie and single daughter in this case, to go help my parents with things, I have no problem hopping on the train at Metro North and going and helping. Like, I see that as like a privilege, and like I'm also, the fact that we're very different people, but the fact that there is love there enough for me to even want to, I think is a success, because a lot of people are like, well, bye, I'm grown, and you leave, and like things just sever over time, and I'm like, although I have I wouldn't say issues with my parents, like we don't have that much in common. We have very different lives.
It's not perfect. It never is.
Yeah, but I'm just like, you know what? I totally would be like, yes, I will go help, or I'll call the doctor, or I'll do this. Like, and I have the time and the energy to do so. And again, if I had my own children, that's on you and Medicaid. I don't know what to tell you.
What I've been thinking about a lot recently, and just heads up, this is going to sound a little morbid, but I think a lot of times when people think of the American dream or their version of the American dream, they're thinking about, you know, how they want to live and what would be most optimal for them. But I think that it should also include like how you want to die, how you want to age, what that looks like, what the support looks like, who the burden or the responsibility is placed on. But talking about death is so taboo, but it happens to all of us. Like, all of our parents are going to age, and there's going to be that point in time where the roles switch, and now you're having to parent the parent, or, you know, it's just a different dynamic that you don't know until you maybe are going through or experience yourself. But, you know, do you want to be in a nursing home? Is that part of your dream? Or do you want to be surrounded by family and move into your kid's guest house? Are your kids well off enough that they're going to have a guest house? Nobody talks about that part, because it's like, oh, that's so negative. Why you got to be like that? I'll worry about that when I get there. But when you get there, it's too late. You know, like, so you have to be also willing to talk about the older years. What do you think about that?
No, I agree. And even like, it gets weird when parents start to bring it up. Like, my parents brought it up not too long ago, because my parents are both retired, and my dad now has decided he's gonna go back to Eritrea every year for a little bit, just because we have so much family still in East Africa.
How old are your parents?
My dad is like 70-ish, and my mom is...
He's a good-looking 70.
I mean, he makes cute cuts, so it had to come from somewhere. But, and my mom is in her 60s, early 60s.
They're like a 10-year age gap-ish?
6 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So my dad is going to go back to Africa, and he's older. And so when he started doing that, maybe like last year or the year before, it's not that we were nervous about the travel, but there is still some conflict with Ethiopia and whatever. So long story short, my parents are like, let's make sure our will and estate and everything is like all set up. So my dad casually let me know. He's like, we finished all that paperwork about end of life, and we have 3 kids, so it's going to be whatever our assets are going to be split evenly, divided by 3, blah, blah, blah. This is the name of the lawyer. If, like, your mom and I perish, like, hit up the lawyer or whatever. I'm like, oh, my God, no. Like, don't say these things. You want to, like, cry when they talk to you about this, but then, like, you actually appreciate it.
Oh, it's a blessing. You want that conversation to come from your parents.
Yeah.
The alternate is, hey, Dad, so when you die, and then you're just like, God, I don't want him to think I'm ready to off him. So the fact that your parents are spearheading that conversation, they are already taking a burden off you so that there are certain decisions that you guys will not have to make when you will be in the most emotional state of your life.
Yeah. And then the topic of inheritance comes up because a lot of people are struggling financially, right? And then if your parents have any money or anything of value, like a house or multiple cars or something like that, you don't want to wait till your parents are dead in order to have money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I also thought about that. I was like, okay, I'm single. I don't have the privilege of two incomes for my life. So I really need to learn more about money. Like, how do you invest? Where do I put it? Where does it grow? Like, how much do I need to retire? So I had to go down this whole rabbit hole, especially since I left corporate America in my very early 20s. And I just figure out life. Like, it's not just you get a check and then you spend the check. It's like, no, where am I supposed to be putting it? So I got really into that recently. Well, the last couple of years, I'd say. And I'm like, okay, I think I have the system down. And then when my parents do pass and when I do get my 1/3, it should just be extra and it should be allocated accordingly. Like, what if I do have a property that I live in at that point and they're like, okay, you guys have the house. And my sister might be like, my family and I already have a house. My brother might be like, I'm in Texas, I have a house. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm living in New York City. I'm gonna stay in this apartment. I don't want that house. In that case, you just sell the house to a nice young family who has kids to raise, and then you just divide the money and then you just invest the cash. You know what I mean? So I just also don't wanna ever be in a situation where I'm like, I'm gonna wait until I'm 60 or whatever, and then that's when my money comes. I just don't like that because people are like, I'm going to inherit money. So it's like you're either wishing death upon your parents early, or you're not going to live your full life because you don't have any money because you're waiting until you get an inheritance. So people also need to learn about money, and that's a huge part of the American dream. When, like, in the time of the war, when they were marketing the American dream as like mom, dad, 2.5 kids, dog, white picket fence, and a car, it was just a different time, and the one salary from the dad could cover everything, and not poverty, not low income, like that was a upper middle class. One person going to work, taking care of all this stuff, and that money doesn't stretch as far these days. So people need to talk about money first and foremost when they talk about what the American dream is.
Yeah. Now I don't think money solves all problems, but obviously, money does make things better, but something that I am learning is that, and it's an ongoing process, so I'm still very much in the middle of it, but I cannot attach my joy to material things because sure, I have stuff saved or, you know, a Pinterest board started about like what my dream kitchen might look like or my dream bathroom with the 2 sinks because Joe be getting on my nerves with all his beard hair scattered everywhere. But if I wait until I have my dream bathroom to be happy with the house that I'm in, what if it takes me until I'm 60 or 50 to get that dream bathroom? You're going to tell me that I'm delaying my own joy for 20 years because I couldn't be happy where I am with what I have? You know, like, yes, I would love if I could have those things now and have, you know, just this, again, romanticized idea of my kids running down the long hallway or the perfect backyard with the pool. But the reality is, I don't know how to manage those things yet. I don't know about the upkeep of a pool, but I know it's a lot and I know it's expensive. And so I'm just not there. I want to genuinely be able to know how to take care and maintain all the things I have, or I also now have to be rich enough to have the thing and then hire somebody else to maintain the thing. So how are you going to practice joy now in the apartment, with or without the family, with or without the kids or the car, so that when you get those things, the joy was already there. You can't wait for the joy to, because then that's going to be another mind blow if, crap, now I got the car or the house and I'm still not happy. Well, joy is a practice, you know, like you have to start that now because you're really going to be disappointed if it doesn't magically come once your finances level up and you get the dream house, you know?
Yeah, it's internal.
Yeah.
That's why if you're not happy internally, finding your person won't make you happy because they're not your spirit. You have to find your authentic joy yourself, because the rest is just circumstantial. It's like outside stuff, because then you're like tied to the other person. It's just projection, and it's just not how it works. So anything material, you should be able to sit in an empty room and feel your feelings, and if you're not happy then, you need to work on stuff. Because if you could have all the luxuries in the world, you'll still feel that hole. And I learned that because, like, you know, New York City's 20s, broke, you know, but I found my way. I found my way, and I'm heavy. And then talking about having the dream bathroom and things like that, I have a rich friend. I live modestly in a really small place. My bedroom is tiny. But my rich friend's new place, their ensuite bathroom is larger than my entire bedroom.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, luxury, like showered, like, and then the tub. It's crazy. But I'm like,
shower and tub.
Yes. Yes. It's like the circle shower here.
That rains down.
It rain shower, and then the tub still on the side. And I'm like, okay. Okay. Separate. Not together, separate. But all that to say, when I see it, because I'm such a practical person and I have my routine, I'm just like, dang, that's just more to clean. More surface area to clean. I like my cozy little space. Obviously, if I had the bigger space, I would make it work. Let's all calm down. But like, it's just material stuff. And like, that friend is not more joyful than me in life. Like, we're friends, so we know each other's life. And it's just like, we're like, on the same plane when it comes to like happiness and frolicking and goals and dreams. And so it's all pomp and circumstance. It just is what it is.
Let me ask you, if you were to do an inventory of your life now, just see where you are, how you are, who you turned out to be, is there anything that surprises you? You're just like, I didn't think it was going to go that way. That doesn't mean you're mad at it, but does anything surprise you about how your life turned out thus far?
Yes, I'm surprised that I am single, unmarried, and child-free.
Okay.
My whole life, I mean, I ingested all the Disney films and stuff, and I'm like, oh, everyone gets married, everyone has kids, everyone lives in a house. I don't have any of those things. And I'm still fine, you know what I mean? But marketing tells you you will never be fine until you have those things. So I was like, I don't have those things. I'm not crying in my pillow at night. I'm sleeping soundly, and I have the whole bed to myself, and no one's hot body on me, and I can kick about, you know, and you know, I'm fine. And I am surprised that I am fine. How about you?
Yeah, a lot of things surprised me. I was a wild one, so the fact that I have calmed down and my life feels pretty traditional in a way that I never in a million years would have pegged for myself. I'm not mad at it, but I'm like, okay.
You really were like an LA party girl, model, dating celebrities, outside, and now you're married to a church boy with your kids, and you help out at the church, and you dress modestly, and you a very decent lady.
It's crazy. So yeah, I just kind of sit in amazement with that sometimes. I'm like, I didn't think we would be here.
You know what's funny? Your kids aren't gonna believe you.
At all.
Because you're like already not cool to the teenager.
At all.
Like it's like, ew, mom, you're a mom.
Yep.
I'm just like, LOL. Like, she's actually cooler than you, but you won't know that.
Until 20 years from now.
Yeah.
And then look back at pictures and be like, wow, mom.
Yeah, she gonna find the receipts and be like, wait a minute. What? Yeah. I cannot wait for that day. I cannot wait.
Same.
Yeah.
What is Faiven's American dream today?
My American dream is happiness outside of material goods, enough money, because let's not kid ourselves, money, enough money to cover all my basic needs, plus a little bit extra so that I can visit friends and family, eat delicious food at restaurants whenever I want to, you know, beauty treatments, stuff like that. Like, I don't want to be concerned about money month to month ever, and health. Like I know even healthcare in America is crazy and the cost of it and everything. So I just want access to healthcare. I want my health in order, and that's it. Just peace. My American dream is peace.
Yes. Let me tell you. So we were seeking a new dentist for our kids. I told you Remi didn't go to the dentist till he was 2. And I found this dentist on Google. I was like, oh, this is great. They have a wholesome approach. They look like they really care about the kids. I read the little blurb on the website, and apparently that wasn't the right kind of research. I did not look to see that they don't take any insurance.
Oh, okay.
So they were just like a rich, bougie, private dentist. My son is 2. So it wasn't a cleaning, it wasn't x-rays. They pretty much just looked in his mouth and was like, he's okay. He got a little plaque. Make sure you're brushing good to get them goldfish out of his teeth. The bill for that was $144. Now, our insurance did cover 70, so whatever 70 plus 144 is. But again, they just kind of looked in the boy's mouth. He's 2. And I'm like, this is crazy. I mean, I get it. You are looking for a certain kind of client and you will get it because there are people that have that kind of money. But when I looked at the breakdown, to talk to us and tell us to maybe lay him down so that we can get to the back teeth, I forget what she called it, but the advising or the educating of the parents was $60.
Okay. See, we could have Googled that. ChatGPT could have told you about the back teeth.
And it's just like, I hate it here. I hate it here. Like, why is this even a thing? You know, why?
And you got multiple kids too. So when it comes to your American dream, how do you see the future as far as your kids growing up? Do you think they should go to college? Do you see that the way the world is going, you can just figure everything out on ChatGPT or maybe a training class or something?
To be honest, I'm a little, I don't want to say scared, but there is a lot of uncertainty because we see what AI is doing and the rate at which it is growing and just, you know, potentially like not even wiping out jobs, but whole industries. You know, schools and systems are struggling with staying up to speed with AI. You know, how are you making sure that these kids aren't cheating on tests and all the things? So it's like, if my kid decides to go to college, is the thing that she's pursuing going to be obsolete? You know, if my kid decides to go into the military, like, my niece is 17 right now, so it's an even more real conversation from my older sister. But it's just like, is college a waste of time right now? Is joining the military too much of a risk with, you know, who our president is and, you know, just like the turmoil that's happening there? It's very scary as a parent. But I think my American dream and I also recognize that this is a privilege, it's just a slow life. It's not feeling the need and the pressure to grind and go. It's a slow life. It's a health-based, peaceful, family-centered life. It includes more spirituality, more conversations and time with God. And you know, maybe it's not in America. I don't know. But for as long as my husband's job is tied to a church that is here, you know, we're here. But to be continued, I guess, because one thing that I know for sure is that every time I make a plan, God laughs and goes, ha ha, watch this. So we'll see. But we want to hear from you guys. What does your American dream look like currently? Have you felt pressure to check boxes? And how have your plans or your vision for your life changed over time?
Yes, let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. And stay tuned for next week's episode. Let's talk about it. The Living Together Playbook.